This is going to be incredibly tactical. If you are gearing up for Q4, fundamentally, understand this is the biggest buying season of the year. If there's any time where I'm going to encourage you to like take imperfect action, this is it, because even kind of subpar action delivers pretty great results here just because you're in a buying season. We're going into a buying season. So I want to talk through this. Is like, what is one ad you should launch today if you want to grow this month? It's a fast feedback loop. What would I do quickly? The understanding here is today, like in the context, we're talking the end of 2024, the cost of attention is pretty high. So I'm going to look at something where you're going to lower the level of commitment. And I'm going to give you kind of like, what is our lowest cost per progress? Because you want to grow this month. And I'll just give you a quick, story. Well, the metaphor is the larger the lift, the longer the runway. And so this is said, like, you think about like planes. If you literally have a larger plane to lift, it needs more time to get up to speed to get it off the ground. If you have a smaller plane, smaller runway. Think about the same thing here. What's the one ad you could launch today if you want to grow this month? And by far, it is a meta ad. So I'm going to say platform when we go meta. It is video style, 16:9, in the sense of like vertical video style. And we're going to focus on call to action as commenting. So a comment, call to action, video style, show up in a reel or show up in a, it's basically Facebook Reels or Instagram. They still call them Reels? Stories, Reels. That's where you're talking about placement there. And the action is comment. So from the creative perspective, I'm going to give you kind of I'm going to give you the formula. I can't tell you exactly what the content's going to be there. But if you go into like the For You page or they kind of have an equivalent now on like the Facebook side of it, go and find a reel, a short form video that has millions of views from the last like couple of months, and then deconstruct it to the T. Deconstruct it to the T. This is better and sometimes easier if it's like a different industry, but you'll see like, what did they do? They were outside, or it's like they're in a car testing donuts, whatever it is. I don't care. And you're like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm literally going to be in a car with crumble, or I said donuts, but like with crumble cookies, testing these things. And then you could blend a couple creatives here. So I've got like, oh, this one goes viral because they're in a car testing crumble cookies. Like, did something else happen? Did they spill the cookie on themselves? Did they say something like, what the factor there? And then I might find one that's like a comment style ad that also had a ton of views and be like, what did they say? And I will blend someone's visuals with someone else's script and be like 80-90% of the way there. And so I could show up in a car with this week's crumble cookies and interject it with like a call to action that relates to my business. So let me play this out and pretend, say most of my audience is trying to sell like a software, right? Helpful in terms of messaging. You've heard me talk about the bridge before, person, problem, product, payoff. That's like, get good at that, because then you can place it right in there. But I'm gonna be sitting in the car, like, I got this week's crumble cookies, and these ones look a little funky. I'm intentionally going to be a little bit more like conflict driven, but whatever. Model something that's going viral. These ones look a little funky. There's one flavor that I think they should never, ever, ever do again. Let's get into it. And I'm going to start with good. I'm going to do 2 out of the 4, and then I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. By the way, if you're looking for a sweet deal, you know how, and then I'm going to call out who it is, right? So I'm going to call, like, how dentists usually struggle to just like get, we've used this example before. This was like AI generated birthday cards for dentists. I don't know if I've shared this publicly. I thought like, why don't people do this? You can do print on demand for like cards. And what if you just did some prompting with like a mid journey so that it actually changed the card to be customized and dynamic to the person? And honestly, the cost of printing doesn't go any further up, but I'd say that, how dentists are usually doing birthday campaigns and they're generic and crappy. Well, we actually have a process where it uses AI, takes, the patient name, their birth date, contextualizes to the things that they are most likely to enjoy, and does a custom printed card every single year, dynamic to each person, and costs you no more. We have a sweet deal, way sweeter than that last cookie. You can, if you just comment the word cookie down below, I'll send you more details on that. And then I'd finish off with my last like 4 cookies. I would blend like that viral videos that are already working something just about like attention on the platform, and then something that's like going to have a call to action. My call to action is going to be commented down below. That makes it super easy because like the cookies, because I'm there tasting crumble cookies, the audience, who am I going to target it towards? Like dentists, right? Or whoever it is. But what will end up happening is Facebook will interpret it kind of like, or Meta will interpret it like the other sort of just viral trending content. They love time in app, time on page. So what ends up happening, you get a very low cost per impression, a relatively low cost per engagement. It's a low commitment process that's happening there. The cool thing now, if you leverage tools like Zappy Chat and other things, is you can make it so it'll respond to the comment in a DM. And so now you can go, like, you can automate this, like they comment cookie. It says like, check your DMs, and it DM'd them from the business page saying, you could start off with like, hey, let me get this over to you. What's the best email for you? And now you're getting an email. And in effect, you're getting a lead. And so you just went from the lowest cost per lead of people that are interested in a sweet deal. This is just as an example because I related it to cookies. More importantly, they're your ideal avatar, and you'll get rewarded with very low cost of impression because you're modeling content that already goes viral, and Facebook recognizes that. Like that's what they want more of. Facebook wants more content that sucks people in, that they watch multiple times, that they spend a lot of time on the screen, they slow their scroll, because those all factor into their, time in app, which are their KPIs they're working towards. And that low commitment adoption is the ad that I'd run. Obviously, that's the ad that I'd run. Behind the scenes, I would try to drive to an appointment, or however you currently do sales right now. But that's the one ad I would launch today if you want to grow this month. The uncomfortable piece, and why this advice could be worthless to you, is if you don't take the time to find a viral ad and just model it. And I'm telling you, like, I've done this, set the constraint of like, I've got a half an hour or an hour. And like right now, one of our highest performing ads is one of those things where I did this process. I was like, let me see what's viral. Let me do this. I took less than an hour to record it. They actually like it being imperfect. And, maybe you got a little extra time if you have to drive to crumble cookies, if that's the one you want to model. But you can find so many that are low-fi, but high impact. And that's the ad that you should run this month if you want to make more money.